CoreTV News at 4. I am Frank Omalape, and here are some of the reports we're filing at this time. A federal high court in Lagos has ordered more than 50 operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to vacate with immediate effect the Lagos resident of the senator-elect from Ogun East Senatorial District, Burji Kashamu. Operatives of the NDLEA had laid siege at Kashamu's residence in Lagos since Saturday, saying it had received a formal extradition request in Kashamu from the government of the United States of America and was coming to court to secure an extradition order. But Justice Ibrahim Boba, in a bench ruling Tuesday afternoon, pronounced the action of the NDLEA sub judice and order the men of the Nigerian police to ensure that the NDLEA operatives vacate Kashamu's premises without a free-for-all. We'll bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. The police authorities have ordered watertight security around inauguration grounds across the country, including the Eagle Square in Abuja. Inspector General Police Solomon Arashe issued the order at a meeting with command commissioners of police in Abuja. Arashe warned troublemakers to stay clear of inauguration venues across the country or risk being arrested and prosecuted accordingly.
That is one of the reasons why the commissioners, they are going to brief us to tell us how prepared they are, their state of preparedness, to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order, that the ceremonies they go peacefully, both in the federal capital and in all the states of the federation. The officers that we sent across the length and breadth of the country to go and ensure that the enforcement of our directives on roadblocks and intelligence-led policing, they have reported back. Before the officers you leave, we are going to show you pictorials, bullet points of what they came up with, so that you could see what is happening in your various states. And to also re-emphasize to you that we are serious that these things have to be enforced, and that our technical platform is active and robust. So it is very, very necessary that you people will enforce the rules that we have put in place to ensure that we have a safe and secure environment.
While Inspector General Police Solomon Arashe has announced the arrest of 2 kingpins responsible for the recent wave of kidnapping in Ekiti State, he however attributed the successes recorded especially with the rescue of 10 hostages to community partnership with the people of Ekiti State. Addressing Commissioner of Police from the 36 states and the FCT in Abuja, Arashe promised to deal with criminal elements across the country. He maintains that the police would not allow any individual or group to hold any state captive.
We will not allow any miscreants to turn any state in the Federation into a Gogosian state. Wherever we find them, we will pursue them, we will arrest them, and we will prosecute them. So I want to thank the officers who went into Edo State and Ekiti State. Ekiti State is also heartwarming that we were able to, through community partnership, rescue the 10 victims. And as at this morning, we have arrested the kingpins, 2 of the kingpins who were responsible for the kidnapping syndicate at the time.
Former Minister of Defense Haliru Bello on Monday night emerged as the acting chairman board of trustees of the People's Democratic Party. Bello, who was also a former acting national chairman of the party, replaces Tony Anini, who resigned from office last week. Outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan was expected to be named as Anini's successor, but he declined the offer. This paved way for the emergence of Haliru Bello as board of trustee chairman in acting capacity.
The work of the Board of Trustees is to act as the conscience of the party and to advise the National Working Committee on how to move the party forward. And we are determined that we will pool our ideas. Most of what remains of the founding fathers of PDP are in the Board of Trustees. and therefore we will make sure we use their collective wisdom. We'll also reach out to all our members in all the states of the Federation so that we will bring the party back to the grassroots.
We are going to collaborate to take the party back to the people, the grassroots. And by so doing, we're going to reinvent, reposition ourselves for the new position of PDP to provide vibrant and robust and constructive opposition.
Plateau State Governor and factional chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Jonah Jang, says he will be leaving office as the poorest governor in Nigeria. Jang said this while speaking in Jos, turned into the nominational service to mark this year's Democracy Day, which happens to be his last after 8 years of stewardship in the state. While challenging his critics to go check the records and prove otherwise, he insists his government is submitting a detailed handing over note which copies, he said, he wished every Plateau State citizen has. The governor has been accused several times by critics of awarding contracts to cronies and not allowing employment in the state civil service in 8 years. And now the All Progressive Congress has denied claims that its National Working Committee has decided to zone the Senate presidency to the North Central and the Speaker of the House of Representatives to the Southwest. The party insists that nothing like that ever happened. APC National Secretary Mai Malabuni said in a statement that the party was embarrassed by the story which he argued was planted in the media to sow the seeds of discords at the party. He noted that the National Working Committee never discussed the issue of zoning at its meeting. APC National Secretary explained that nothing has changed since the president-elect expressed his readiness to work with anyone who emerges as Senate presidency or Speaker of the House of Representatives. And now all the parties involved in issues that led to the nationwide fuel scarcity have reached an agreement at a meeting brokered by the Senate. Chairman Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream, Magnus Habe, disclosed this after a close-up meeting on the sidelines of an investigative hearing on the nationwide fuel crisis. He noted that following the resolution, oil marketers and tanker drivers will begin to lift fuel at depots within 6 hours of the agreements.
Smiles and handshakes all around. This is how the stakeholders who came with grievances ended the meeting brokered by the Senate. It was designed as an investigative hearing to find out the cause of the nationwide fuel crisis. But the senators led by Magnus Abe and Emmanuel Polka called a meeting on the sidelines of the hearing. After the closed-door meeting, Senator Abe gave an insight into the peace deal.
We have been able to reach some understandings that we believe will bring immediate solution to the immediate problems in the supply and distribution of products nationwide. I also want to thank the GMD of NNPC for his determined intervention with the unions within the NNPC that also resulted in a solution to the problems of the strike in the NNPC just in the course of our meeting right now. So as we speak now, we have clear information that the Nupeng and Pengasin strike has been called off following the intervention of the GMD and this committee.
There was also a subtle threat to withdraw the license of any marketer who refused to lift fuel within 6 hours of the end of the meeting. One after the other, the stakeholders voiced their acceptance of the agreement that also involved striking oil workers and the government.
But because we have really discussed, I'm sure that from today it is also known that we are not fraudulent and that the words like we don't trust should be removed from the minds of everybody.
The GMD has promised that AGO will also be loaded in most of the NNPC depots for our trucks to use while conveying the other products, PMS, budgets, oil, and GPK.
We're able to unravel so many aspects from logistics to finance to very many other parts of the problem that hopefully will now be resolved as we move forward. In our own case, we endorse the summary you made, and we'll move forward on that to issue a letter to Moman and Dapman, just noting that there's a committee working, and the outcome of that will be documented, and government is continuous.
The meeting indeed ended on a good note and left many wondering why it took the intervention of the Senate. Senator Abe dropped hints on the issue of trust in an interview with newsmen.
I think it's all about communication and understanding. We're able to hear each other clearer, and I think that everybody is also committed to trying to find a solution. So people had to give and take. We extracted commitments from all the parties. So everybody is giving up something so that Nigeria can move forward, because the country is virtually grinding to a halt.
For now, there is respite for Nigerians, at least on paper. But it remains to be seen when the queues will disappear and motorists will be able to easily drive into fuel stations and buy the product without hassles.
Despite the decision by few marketers to start the lifting of fuel, commuters in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, are still having to trek long distances to work. This is owing to the continued hike in transport fare, which is yet to abate. Commuters who hitherto wait to boat vehicles have been rushing to get into the few buses available.
You can get off the view now. You don't ask me to off it. I'm doing my work. Okay, you want to be covered?
They are going to Beggar. Beggar. This area one, no. You are enter Beggar.
And our socio-economic activities in the Nigerian capital were on Monday at an unusually low rep as a result of the worsening fuel crisis. This has forced residents to demand some form of proactive measures from the outgoing government to address the situation in the country. Our correspondent, Basi Aye, has more.
These are some fuel stations in the Federal Capital Territory. And like many others, they are not dispensing product of any kind. But this one in Highbrow Maitama district is functional. On inquiry, CoreTV News found out that only a few privileged individuals are being serviced. But even in their present state, motorists are still on queue to get a product that is seemingly not available. Some say they have been at filling stations for about 3 days, all to no avail. Now they are asking government to give reasons for their predicaments.
Today night they sell in there between 10 and 11, they sell fuel. They sell fuel. To some people, we beg them to so that they will patronize. They say no. I'm stranded here because I can't go back. I don't have fuel in my car to go back. I better just leave the car here.
On Saturday, I came here again. On Saturday, I parked my car here, and to my greatest surprise, they did not sell fuel. Saturday, Sunday, I was here. Even up to today, Monday, I'm still here waiting to buy fuel. I'm here with my car. If I go, I'll just go and take my bath and come back just to get fuel. I don't know what is going on in the country. If it's the subsidy, they should remove it so that we will rest.
This man says he had to rely on public transportation to get to the office, but is angered by the hike in fare.
Very unbearable. Over the weekend, not having to be able to drive your car. As you can see, I was just trekking down now, parking my car at home. This is my car key. I couldn't drive it. I had to take a public transport down here, which was very, very exorbitant, if I could put it that way. So many people are stranded. They are stranded. Not many people could afford to even find their way to their destination. Well, from that, like, from Utako to this place now, I have to pay like 300.
In the light of all this other man can only see a bleakness ahead and is wondering how May 29 would play out.
We are meant to be celebrating Democracy Day. We are meant to be celebrating 29th of this month. But do you expect me to come out and celebrate? To celebrate what? When I don't have food on my table, when there's no light in my house, when I don't have water? This morning, as early as 5 a.m., go to the road and see. Try it yourself tomorrow morning. Go and see what is happening on the road. As at 4:35 a.m., you see masses on the road. Somebody that is earning 20,000 naira salary, you spend 300 naira to and fro, 600 naira. How much is your salary? It's heartbreaking. It is painful. And like I said, it is devastating. Until the country will know what to do and solve this problem once and for all. Otherwise, I repeat, we are heading to God knows where.
As the fuel situation in the country gets worse and Nigerians recount their travail, they can only hope that respite comes soon. From the streets of Abuja, Basiaye, CoreTV News.
You're watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a break now. We'll be back with more stories after this time out. Join us again.
Every day of the week will bring to you divergent views on news making the headline.
If people who commit crime are being rewarded with national honors, with national appointments, then where are we going in this country?
It's not about whether it was Jonathan or whether you are going to have a Buhari. It's the kind of political structure we run.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
We are talking about a Buhari who at 41 became head of state. The man did not exhibit the attribute of somebody that is strong intellectually.
So, comrade, you're saying if you become governor, you're going to bring back Okada?
Of course.
You will bring back the market women on the streets?
Excuse me, don't put words in my mouth.
On Core Digest, we bring all of this to the court of public opinion, where you are the judge.
If you just join us, this is CoreTV News at 4, and all our top stories can be found on our social media platforms, like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow at CoreTV News NG. For live streaming, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV News space, the news. One of the two senators jostling for the Senate presidency has described the fuel subsidy scheme as one of Nigeria's biggest frauds. Senator Bukola Saraki, who is also the chairman of the Senate Committee on Environment, claimed that $32 billion has, in the last 6 years, been paid to people who lack capacity for fuel imports. He told journalists in Abuja that most of the 82 marketers licensed to import fuel under the scheme are bogus operators. The former Kwara State governor argued that it would be better to remove fuel subsidy than to continue to pay for
running government
inefficiency.
nowadays has a lot to do with capacity and ability. I mean, you might be a nice guy, you might be a very friendly guy, you might be this, but really, as I said, running government now is like running companies. You got to be able to look at the person and say, okay, does this person have the capacity to do it? And when you don't have it, this is the kind of issues that this way you find ourselves and find the country, because there were decisions that should have been taken in the interest of the country, but unfortunately, you know, those that had interest and had his heirs did not allow him, and those that could to advise, they're easy to hide. They don't like you, don't come close to them. And if you remember when some of us left the party, some people would convince him to make a statement that good riddance to bad rubbish, and if you look at it today, there's no way the PDP would have gone down this way if he had kept all these people on board. So that's just an example of where bad advice led to this.
In the meantime, the Nigeria Labour Congress has advised outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan to take decisive action against what he described as the oil cabal in the face of the current fuel scarcity. NSC President Ayuba Waba said in a statement on Monday that the cabals are only concerned with obtaining money from government without rendering the needed services under the cloak of subsidy. It maintained that those responsible for the impunity and corruption in the oil sector cannot continue to hold the country to ransom. The Supreme Court has advised the Presidency and the National Assembly to work out an out-of-court solution to the contentious issues over the Constitution Amendment Bill and report back to it. The court directed the two parties to meet and harmonize their position on the grounds that the issue in dispute can be resolved without court intervention. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, will let the panel of 7 justices give their advice at the hearing of the suit. The Apex Court also struck out a motion filed by counsel to the Attorney General of the Federation.
If you look at the amendment proposed by the National Assembly, they propose to amend 65 sections of the Constitution. The only areas we're complaining about are 10 out of 65, almost next to nothing. So I'm sure, as the court pointed out, when the two parties sit down, they can iron the gray areas, and then we come back and report the settlement of weapons. So we thank their lordships for their wisdom and their guidance.
I'm hopeful that both the executive and the legislature in this matter put their heads together and resolve this very simple matter and division avoided. But let me say that I am extremely glad that the Supreme Court has responded, as fathers of the nation by saying, let there be peace. And I think the best legacy, the best gift that the President and the 7 National Assembly can give to Nigeria is the resolution of this issue amicably, so I can have, a new amended or alteration of the Constitution.
The outgoing government has submitted a handover note to the Transition Committee of the All Progressives Congress ahead of the May 29 presidential inauguration. In a brief ceremony attended by permanent secretaries of government agencies in Abuja, Vice President Amadi Sambo charged the incoming administration to study the notes closely, and he added that permanent secretaries will be available at any time to clear gray areas if the need arises. Responding, Chairman of the Transition Committee, Ahmed Joda, said he was not disappointed over the level of work done by the outgoing administration and promised that the incoming administration will continue viable projects.
These folders are the original copies presented by the ministries and other agencies of government. And the permanent secretaries of each ministry have signed and initialed each page of these reports to authenticate and own it. And it is our pleasure to present it to you and pray that it will help guide you and guide the incoming administration. So it is my pleasure for me to formally present to you. This is yes, you want me to give all. This is one set of the report. Thank you very much.
There is continuity in government and in governance. Our duty and interest as a committee is to examine these reports carefully and to make recommendations that are not only sensible but practical, especially in the realities that we have to face in the next few months, perhaps few years. In a way, we are beginning from a beginning to chart a new course. And in this, we must try to balance the expectations of the Nigerian people. Indeed, friends of Nigeria from around the world, that what happens between May 29, 2015 and May 29, 2019 will truly be a positive change. We are in one boat, we face one destiny. Let us try to make the best we can.
Despite assurances that the series of crises which has been rocking Ekiti State over the week should not be politicized, the APC and the PDP have started a word of words on the crisis. The parties have both been pointing fingers at each other as the brain behind the recent problems in Ekiti. Our correspondent Rashid has details.
With the lifting of curfew in Ado-Ekiti and soul-searching by stakeholders reviewing the recent happenings in Ekiti State, the two major political parties have taken at each other over what they described as the sponsorship of the crisis that rocked the state. While the PDP says the APC is intolerant, the APC says the leadership style of the state governor is the foundation for the crisis.
The APC are violent people. The APC are people that are not tolerant with others. The moment APC is not in government, there is always trouble. They are intolerant.
What has happened to all the talk that were housed in the government house? Where are they? What has happened to the people that attacked the judiciary? What has happened to the people that sealed up the legislative arm of government? What has happened to people who has not given opportunity and freedom of association to all political parties and individuals that contested in the last election?
With Ekiti people still apprehensive daily over the news of the 19 APC lawmakers storming Ekiti any moment and the added cases of kidnapping, coupled with a communal clash, the parties have this rather cynical advice for each other.
I want to appeal to APC in Ekiti State. Give peace a chance. Why do you like trouble? Why do you like make trouble with the government of PDP? Each time we have PDP in place, you want to make the state ungovernable, and it's unfair.
I see the happenings of recent as very, very suspicious, and we believe they are being orchestrated and instigated by the power that be in the state in order to prevent the legislative arm of government, particularly the 19th arm of government, from performing their constitutional responsibility.
Though normalcy might have returned to Ado metropolis, political observers say the next battle in the state may be on the political front. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
Meanwhile, members of the Ekiti State Executive and the aggrieved APC legislators have held a meeting for the overall interests of the state. Governor Ayodele Fayose stated this while addressing newsmen in Akure after a 4-hour closed-door meeting with Speaker Omiri. Fayose, alongside the Speaker of the 19 APC lawmakers in House of Assembly at Dewale Omiri, says that the meeting was to find a political solution to the crisis rocking the two arms of government. Among the attendees from the APC is the Deputy Speaker of the G19, Tunji Orushalade, and the majority leader of the APC group, Churchill Adedipe and Bumi Orino, representing Idosi constituency. The outcome of the meeting, however, cannot be ascertained.
Who are the people that met?
Well, the executive and the legislature. And we have met in the overall interest of our state, believing that we will be able to find solution to the problems.
That is exactly what you have done. What the governor said is exactly what you have done. Thank you.
The Bring Back Our Girls group has accused the Nigerian military of mocking the populace over the rescue of the abducted Chibok schoolgirls. The protest movement noted that 1 year after the rescue, a promise made by the Chief of Defense, Air Marshal Alex Badian, and 406 days into the abduction, none of the girls has been found. It has consequently decided that after May 29, the girls are not seen.
Our girls are not rescued, our movement shall immediately
seek a public engagement within 1 week of the inauguration to receive an update on the plans for the federal the update of the plans by the federal government to rescue our girls. We reiterate that the fundamental basis of our advocacy throughout the past over 1 year is that the constitutional mandate, and it is the constitutional mandate and therefore the responsibility of the federal government to secure all citizens. We shall therefore unequivocally continue our demand for the rescue of our Chibok girls and all other abducted citizens of our country.
The Nigerian military says it has discovered some amount of foreign currency on a terrorist commander who was killed during an encounter with troops at Mafa border town with Cameroon. The Director of Defense Information, Major General Chris Olukolade, said in a statement on Monday that the Boko Haram commander was killed when the special forces repelled an attack by the insurgents on Mafa on Saturday. Olukolade said the terrorist, who was a member of the highest Emir Kader of the Boko Haram, was among 30 terrorists who were killed in the Mafa battle. The defense spokesman said several other militants fled the scene of battle with bullet wounds. He added that the soldiers also captured a number of arms and ammunition, tubes of rocket-propelled grenades, a buffalo vehicle, and other equipment from the insurgents. And hundreds of aggrieved youth in Kaduna on Monday protested over the non-payment of an allowance from a training program organized by Small and Medium-Scale Enterprises Development Agency, SMEDAN, about 2 weeks ago. The aggrieved youth, who were trained in collaboration with the state governments and small-scale businesses, claimed they were promised a certain amount of money. After the initial protest did not elicit a response, they decided to picket the office of the Ministry of Commerce and Industries. Our correspondent Tamina Nebi has details in this report from our studios.
Hundreds of aggrieved youths on the streets of Kaduna, they say they decided to go on protest after all efforts to get their dues failed.
We were issued individual and group certificate, and we have been qualified for all the necessary things. And we are now waiting for the government to now give us the money as it has been mentioned before and during the training.
The protesters claimed they were promised money after the training but found out they had been deceived. Mohammed Zakari is one of the protest leaders.
We go up and down from Zaria to Kaduna for this business plan. We are here to see the commissioner and call his attention, because the governor on that launching day, he said the money was kept aside 1 billion for 1,000 graduates.
The government, however, has a different account of the development. It denied allegations of deception made by the aggrieved youths.
You can even hear from their leaders, all representing different zones. I think 33 from each zone of the state. So they will respond, because we now don't have problem. And dialogue, we have been dialoguing, we are talking. So you hear their response now.
Officials of the state government later met with representatives of the protesters, and afterwards, one of them gave an insight into the outcome of their meeting.
Don't have any regrets trying to have an audience with them and going the way we went about it, because this is supposed to be an example for any government that comes in, that if there's any program they wish to do, they should do that program to the very end, and they should also make sure they go ahead and also checkmate everything that's happening, so that they will make sure that at the end of the day, this program is not just a waste of time and effort.
The aggrieved youths who waited patiently to hear the outcome of the meeting say it would be difficult for them to ever believe any government official.
Residents of Ifako-Ijai local government area in Lagos State have staged a protest over unstable power supply and outrageous monthly bill by their local electricity supplier. A correspondent Olajumoke Olatuji has more.
These are the residents of Ogba, Ifako-Ijai area of Lagos, who came out en masse to protest the lingering epileptic power supply in their locality. Speaking to CoreTV News, they urged the grievances not just on power supply, but the outrageous bills they have to pay.
No kerosene, no diesel, nothing, no light.
We will not tolerate this nonsense.
Fashola must hear and do something. NEPA people must not come to our community.
Inadequate light since last year, November. Yet they present to us an abnormal bill.
All the bill they sent to us from January to May, they should come and pack it. We don't want it. They should give us light. If we don't see light, we are going to beat NEPA.
Several letters have been sent to them, but it was unfortunately most of the letters being sent to them went astray.
While responding to their grievances, one of the officials of the Kaja Electricity District promises a total resolution to their complaints.
As soon as maybe the power is allocated to us, we will give it out. We will give it out. Even those areas that we are talking, that we are seeing power supply, it might be due to one reason or the other. And the reason is that depends on the feeder that is feeding that area.
The residents, among other complaints, are seeking for a more stabilized power supply. Olajumoke Olatuji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're still watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a break now. We'll be back with sports, stories, and business. Join us again.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's just about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
And in sports news now, Nigeria's under-20 national team, the Flying Eagles, have arrived in New Zealand for the 2015 FIFA Under-20 World Cup, which begins on May 30th. The African champions left their training camp in Nuremberg, Germany, on Sunday and flew via Frankfurt on a hectic 25-hour flight across the 3 continents before arriving in New Plymouth. The 28-man delegation, including 18 players and 10 officials, landed in Dubai from Frankfurt on Monday morning before heading for Melbourne, Australia. They later connected a flight to Auckland, the capital of New Zealand, from Australia after being airborne for 18 hours, 35 minutes on Tuesday morning. At the Auckland International Airport, the Flying Eagles team was joined by Manchester City youth team striker Kelechi Iheanacho. They flew together to New Plymouth, where they will play their preliminary matches. The Nigerians will come at the Quality Hotel Plymouth International and will continue final preparations with the first training scheduled for Wednesday afternoon at 13:00 hour local time. Manu Garwasaland have been drawn against Brazil, Korea DPR, and Hungary in Group E. Nigerians, the African champions, will begin their campaign for glory against Brazil on June 1 in New Plymouth. Former Nigerian international Christian Chukwu is convinced that the professionals in the Nigerian League are capable of prosecuting the match against Chad rather than Stephen Keshi calling on the overseas-based players. The former Nigeria captain believes that by not underrating the Chadians, the players in the Globe Premier League are experienced and talented enough for the work at hand. A retired defender and another ex-international, Mutiu Adepoju, also believe that Keshi is right in leaving out 2 of the country's strikers, Emmanuel Emenike and Brownie Dare, from the list of overseas-based players called for the Rwanda 2017 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. As the Eagles aim to return to continental glory, Keshi on Monday released a list of 15 overseas-based players to join the 26 home-based players for the African qualifier against Chad on June 13th in Kaduna without the duo. The list excluded the Fenerbahce and West Bromwich Albion strikers, but included new players such as Andrew Esiti, who plays for Estoril FCT, FC of Portugal. The former players who spoke with journalists in separate interviews said the form of players is important to inviting them for camping. Fourth seed Petra Kvotka survived a scare before beating New Zealand's Marina Erakovic in the French Open first round. The Czech needed 3 breaks in the final set of win. 6-4, 3-6, 6-4, 7th seed David Ferrer beat Lukas Lakov for 6-1, 6-3, 6-1 to record the 300th clay court win of his career. Serena Williams takes on Andrea Lavakova later on Tuesday, while Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal are also in action. The 3 remaining Britons in the singles draw will not be in action again until Thursday, as the scheduled events out following the 3-day first round in Paris. Andy Murray has at least learned that he will face Joao Sousa after the Portuguese beats Canada's Vasek Pospisil 6-3, 7-6, 6-1 on Tuesday. The Briton has won all 5 of his previous meetings with Sousa in a straight set, although they have yet to play on clay. And outside Nigeria now, Kenyan police have been involved in a fierce gun battle with militant Islamists in northeastern Garissa County, leaving 1 officer wounded. The Al-Shabaab militant had ambushed the police near Yumbis town in Garissa County. In April, it carried out a siege on Garissa University College and 148 people were killed. Report from Kenya's eastern Garissa region said as many as 20 police officers are feared dead in 2 attacks by suspected Al-Shabaab militants. Local officials said the first attack occurred when a police vehicle ran over a landmine in Yumbis village, injuring at least 3 policemen. At least 13 people have been linked or killed by a tornado that hits the northern Mexico border city of Coahuila. Hundreds of homes have been damaged or destroyed in the city, which is just across the border from Del Rio, Texas. Dozens of people have also been injured, and officials warn that the death toll could rise. Coahuila's Governor Ruben Moreira, on a visit to the stricken area, said 10 adults and 3 children had died, and the baby was missing. Another 150 people had been taken to hospital, he said. Rescuers were searching the 750 damaged properties for more casualties, and the Interior Department says state officials were coordinating a response. Victor Zamora, Coahuila's Interior Secretary, said an area of about 7 blocks had been devastated by the tornado. Civil protection officials said that 8 temporary shelters have been set up for those made homeless by the disaster. Well, it does a wrap on CoreTV News at 4. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. I'll see you again.